Hi, in this tutorial I'm gonna walk you through the basics of CorelDraw. This is the 2022 version. If you have another one, the welcome screen will look a little different, but what you gotta do is just go to under the Get Started tab and go to New Document. And this window for document settings will pop up. You can name your document from here, or you can name it later on when you're gonna save your document. The number of pages, I'm gonna leave it to one. Page view, it's a single page view. Primary color mode, we're gonna leave it to RGB. Dimensions, this is an landscape A4. You can choose your sizes by either typing your size here if you want to, or you can choose one from the existent ones. You have some options here for print, for web, for devices, or social media. Now I'm gonna go with I'm gonna leave it like so with an A4. And orientation portrait, resolution 300 dpi, and click OK. Now this is our working space. On the working space you can pan, you can go left, right, up and down by clicking and holding the mouse wheel button. If you want to zoom in and out, just use the mouse wheel. Okay, these are I think these are the fastest ways to look throughout your document. Of course, you have a tool here for zoom and pan, but I think these are good to use. Okay, starting from the top, we have the menu bar with several options. We're gonna see some of them later on. The next one is it's a standard bar with saving starting a new document, printing, import, export options. Next is the properties bar. Here, when I have nothing selected on the workspace, you can change the document, some document settings like the size. You can go either to another size from this drop down, or you can change the dimensions from here. The orientation, go with let's turn it to landscape. Units, if you want to change them, and I recommend to leave this thread all objects as filled, to leave it turned on. It should be by default. Leave it like that, because it would help you to interact with the objects. And on the left side we have the tools, the toolbox. You can customize the image by going to toolbox toolbar. You can either select small, medium, or large button size. I stay with a medium size, and some other options here. Okay, on the right side we have the color bar, the color palette. You can either go throughout the colors by using your mouse wheel, scrolling through, or what I suggest is go to this button here and go with select 3 rows to see all the colors. Next, on the left side of the colors we have the Dockers panel. Here the first that you will have it open is the Learn Docker where some hints will come when you select a tool. So for each tool you have some description and hints. Okay, you will have the properties and objects dockers opened. Here what I suggest you to open, I mean, if you, for example, if you close this by accident, you close these objects or learn docker, you close it by accident, you can go to window, dockers, and look for your docker, the learn one. Okay, here I would suggest to open this one, the transform docker, because we will work with this, and I think it's good to know about this one, how to work with. And on the bottom side we have here we'll have the color history. This is the actual fill of an object, and you can change this fill by opening double clicking on this button here, and the outline of the object. And you can also change its properties by double clicking this object and change the settings. But we will see how this works. Now the first one is the pick tool. It's a regular selection tool, and to demonstrate you, I will make some rectangles here by selecting this rectangle tool here, and I will just make some rectangles, a few rectangles, and I'm gonna give them some colors. So with the object, with the rectangle selected, I can just click on any of the color, and I want to give them some random colors. Since we're here on the colors category, let's show you how you can also add the outline to the object. So for example, I want to make this outline to green. I can right click here on this on the color. Okay, if I want to remove the outline, I can right click this box with no color and a red diagonal line, and the outline was removed. And if I want to add it again, I can right click on any color and add its outline. To modify the outline, you can go here on this properties bar. You can set the thickness of the outline, or as I told you, you can go here on this button, you double click and the outline properties will pop up, and you can also change the thickness. You can choose the style if you want to. You have several styles here for the outline, and the corners you can play with these options here. I'm gonna leave it like that for now. So now we have these objects here. To select an object, you can just click on it, and if you click again on the object, you will have another you have some other options here to, for example, to rotate the object. You can change its sizes by dragging on these nodes, on these black dots here. You have them on the corners and on middle. When you are on this, when you click the second time and you have the rotation options here, you can rotate the document, you can skew, rotate the object, you can skew it. Okay, and here you can also, this is the rotation point of this object, so you can move it. And for example, if I move this rotation point to this corner, you will see that it will snap when I'm either on the line of the object or on the corner. It will snap. Okay, so the rotation point of this object now it's here. Okay, I will undo that, and by clicking Ctrl Z on the keyboard, this is the common undo shortcut. To select objects, as I told you, just click on them. To select multiple objects, you can click outside of the object and make a selection for the objects you want to select. So for example, if I want to select these 3 rectangles, I make a selection for all of them, for all of them. If I go with the selection to here, this will not select the 3rd object, so you have to make the selection to fully cover it. Okay, and if I, let's say, did this and I want to select this one as well, I can hold the shift key and select it, and I can also deselect it if I don't want to, and I can hold shift and select multiple objects. Okay, so since I already have these rectangles here, and we can see how objects can interact one with another, and how to arrange them to change the order of the order of the object. And as you can see now, if I want, for example, this object to be in front of all of them, this one is currently the lowest one. Okay, I can either go to the object docker here and I can drag it on top. I will undo that, and the shortcut for this one, it's holding shift and the page up button. It will get the object in front of all of the other objects. To bring it down again, you hold shift and page down. This is the shortcut. Another way to do this is by going to object and order, and you can choose to front of page. It will have the same result. And I will undo that. If I go to object, I can go to order again, and I can choose in front of or behind. And if I choose in front of, I can choose in front of what object this one should be. So let's say on top of this green one, and now the object is between the green one and this purple one. So let's see how we can center objects and how to align them. And I will use all of this. So now I would like to align them all of on top. So I can either choose from the objects menu here by going to align and distribute. I can choose one of these options here. We have align left, right, top, bottom, horizontally, vertically, and center to page. And you see we have some shortcuts here that are good to know. So if I want to align them to top, I can hit T on the keyboard or click align top. Now I will use the shortcuts. So to align them to bottom, you hit B on the keyboard. Okay. To align them horizontally, you can hit E on the keyboard. They are now aligned horizontally, and let me change their position to show you alignment to left and right. So by selecting all of them, if I hit R on the keyboard, I align them to the right, L to the left, and C to the center of the object. And if I hit E, I align them to the center. Now to move the object on the x-axis, for example, you can click on it and start dragging, and then hit the shift key, and now I can move it horizontally. Okay, same is for vertical movement. If I start moving it, you see that I can now move it freely, but if I hold the shift and go up and down, it will stay locked for the on the y axis on vertical. Okay, so this was the alignment. Now how two objects can interact one with another. Let's use this tool. So when we select two or multiple objects, we have some options here on this property bar. We can either combine these two. Let me show you by overlapping them. Okay, so the green one is on front of the purple one, and if I hit combine, the two will combine, and the part that was overlapping disappears. I undo that. If I weld them, they will join together in one shape. With the trim option, the bottom object will be trimmed. Okay, so where these two objects overlap, it will trim the bottom object. I undo that. Next is the intersect object. Create an object where is the overlapping area. So we have this. Next is the simplify. Front minus to back, it removes the overlapping parts from the front object, and the back minus front, well, it removes the overlapping part from the bottom object. The next one, it's the create boundary. This will create an outline around these two objects, and we will have a separate object here that we can fill. Okay, let's go with the tools now. So this was the selection, the pick tool. If you click and hold on the buttons that have a little triangle on the right bottom side, like this one, almost all of them have this option. If you click and hold, you will see that more tools are available under these buttons. So the next one is the freehand pick. With this one we can draw freehand and select objects if you find this helpful. The free transform tool, we can free transform our tools by dragging. Okay, the next one is the shape tool. With this tool you can edit a curve object or text character by manipulating nodes. So now what we have here, we have simple objects, like this is a rectangle, so we have a square. Okay, we cannot transform them too much just by changing their width and their height and rotation, or we can skew them. By using this shape tool on a regular object, you will see that some black nodes appear on the objects, on the corner of the objects. So if, for example, on this rectangle, if I drag this down, I will round up its corners, and I will undo that. And you can do this individually for what corners you want to. For example, I will hold shift and click on this one and round up only those two. Next, I will transform this rectangle to curves, so you can see the difference. So if you right click and hit convert to curves, or Ctrl Q, the shortcut, you will see now that we have some the corners will look a little different from the regular object, and that's because now they are converted to curves. And this, by dragging on these nodes, now we can distort the shape. I will undo that now. I can now delete, if I want to, a node. If I select it, I can double click on it to delete it. Undo that, or hit delete. You can also add more nodes if you want to. You can double click on a line on this segment, for example, and here we have more nodes where we can make a different transformation to the path, to the object. So, and now if we want, for example, to add curved lines to these segments, we can click on this segment line, and we go to convert to curve. And here you see that some control handles appeared that have some little triangles at the end. And now if we drag these arrows, these handles, we can adjust the curve of this line, like so. And you can do that on every line that you want. Basically, that's the difference between a regular object and a curved transformed object. Now we will go through these tools that basically add distortion to an object. So to demonstrate this first one, I will use the last one actually to make some rough curves. So if I hold and drag on this line, you will see that we have this rough corners here. And to use the smooth the smooth tool, you'll see better what it does. And to smooth out this curve, I can now just hold and drag, and this will also reduce the nodes that are unnecessary to make it smoother, or it can add more nodes. You see here we have a bunch of nodes, and this will smooth it and remove the unnecessary nodes. Okay, the next one is the smear tool. Next is the tool. If you click and hold, you can make spirals like so, and you can move the orientation counterclockwise or clockwise, change the brush size, and so on from here. The attract and repel object, it's basically like a magnet. This one attracts the nodes together, and this one repels. Okay, next it's the smudge tool. Okay, next is the crop tool. With this one we can crop, let's say this is we can crop objects or images with the object selected. You can crop what part you want from it by making the selections over it, and with the selection make we hit crop. Next it's a knife. You can cut by click and holding. You can cut through this selected object, and here you will see that now I break this object in a few parts. Next it's the virtual segment delete. With this one, what you can do, if I have two objects overlapping and I want, for example, to delete this this outline where they are overlapping, I can go to this virtual segment delete, and I delete this this outline where the two were overlapping, and we have this. Okay, let's clean up a little bit, and next is the eraser tool. You can use it like a regular eraser, and you can also use a shape with a square, or you can change the brush size. You have some more options, more properties for this this tool. Next is the zoom and pan. This I already talked about them. We're using them already with the mouse wheel, panning and zooming throughout our document. Next is the freehand tool. With this one you can freehand a shape or a line. You can close a shape when you will see this little arrow pointing down. Now this is a closed shape, so you can add a fill to it. Okay, or you can make just a line, draw something. you will see that automatically smooths the line if I do some rough drawings. Next is the 2-point line. You can hold and drag. You can if you want to make it horizontally perfectly, you can hit hold shift, and if you go up with the mouse, it will go from 15 to 15 degrees. Okay. Next is the bezier. You can click and if you click and hold, you will see these handles appear, these control handles, and you can adjust the curve, the arc of this segment, and you can continue with the shape. Let's delete this. Next is the pen tool. With this one we can also draw a shape or a trace on an image. We will see how this works. And basically, if you just click, you will make straight lines. But if you click and hold, you will also see these control handles that appear with which we can control the arc. Okay, so let's say we want it like this. The next one will we will have a preview, you see, of the next line, and it will continue in a smooth way. So we will have it like this, and the next one will also continue smoothly. And for example, if I go with this curved line, and I don't want to continue like this with a curve, and I want a straight line upwards, to remove this handle here, you can hold the Alt key, the keyboard, and click on this node. So this control handle disappeared, then I can now make a straight line if I want to. The B-spline tool draw curved lines by setting control points that shape the curve without breaking it into segments. So what that means, if I click and make click again, I can now adjust the curve with having a reference point where I have the click, you see here, and by clicking again I can continue the curve. Next, the polyline. With this one you can draw, and if you release the mouse, you can go to straight lines, and if you want to continue with the freehand drawing, you can do that. Okay, and then we have the 3-point curve. You can draw a curve by dragging from the starting point to the end point and then positioning the center point. So we can drag a line, and we can adjust the curve. Next we have our artistic media tool, and with this one you can make some, as I said, some artistic drawings here. So the first one, it's the preset tool. Draw a curve by using preset vector shapes, and you can change the vector shape from this drop down menu here. Okay, you can do it like so. Here you can also increase the width. You can apply this vector shape to an existing path. So if I draw this path here, and if I go to artistic media tool, I can choose one of these shapes that it's applied to that path. Next, you will see that when we drag this this shape now, you will see a preview of its outline. Thing is, you will see that on the horizontally it have three paths. That's because they are joined together, the path and this vector shape. So what you can do to break them apart, you can break this artistic media group apart, and now you will have them. This is the actual shape that now it doesn't have an outline color. I will give it black, and this is the vector shape. Thing is, now you can move with its nodes, and if you need to make adjustments to the shape, because back when these two were together, they were combined, you couldn't do that. You couldn't adjust the nodes of this shape, and I will show you on this line here. You can only adjust the path, but you cannot adjust like the corners. So here also, if we right click and break artistic media apart, this is the actual path and this is the vector shape on which we can now modify the nodes. Okay, on this tool we also have available more brushes, and from the drop down you can choose a category that each have their own styles. Like so. Okay, we have the sprayer here with more options for brush strokes. Or and you can play with the settings here. Footprint. Oh, I should choose a footprint. Okay. Then it's the calligraphic. Draw a curve that reassemble a calligraphic pen stroke. So it will have this this style like a calligraphic writing pen. Then what we have, it's a brush. You can also adjust its width and the angle. Okay, let's clean up. After the artistic media, we have the live sketch. This one sketch naturally and fluidly with intelligent stroke adjustment. So this one, it's smoothing the drawing. You see? Next is the smart drawing. This one convert freehand strokes to basic shapes or smooth curves. So we basically, what it does, if I draw a square, it will make a rectangle shape out of a drawing. So as you can see, this is a rough drawing, and it did a rectangle out of it, or a triangle, and a circle, almost a circle. Okay, so let me delete this. Next we have the rectangle. We already saw this one. The one tip, for example, if you need a rectangle for the whole page size, you can double click the rectangle tool, and you will have a rectangle on the page sizes. Okay. Next one is the 3-point rectangle. With this one you can draw rectangles on an angle. So I want to draw it diagonally. I can click and drag this line, and the rectangle will start from this line in an angle, like so. Next one is the circle. What I didn't mention, like, and this is it applies to rectangles as well. If you want to draw a perfect circle of or a rectangle, you hold the Control key and will draw a perfect circle. And if you want to if you want it to start from the point where you clicked, you hold Control and Shift in the same time and drag. So I will want to have the center point of the circle where I click, like here, and if I hold Control and Shift, it will have that center point. Okay, now is the 3-point ellipse. This one, with this one we can also draw ellipses from an angle, so it's similar to the 3-point rectangle. We draw this line and we can go with the ellipse diagonally. Next we have the polygon tool. I will hold Control to keep the proportions. Okay. And here you can make, from here you can make as many sides as you want. You can go up to a triangle, and up to how many lines you want. Okay, next one, it's the star. And on the star you have some options here to change the number of corners. With the star selected, you can change the number of corners, and you can also change the sharpness of the star, of the corners. Okay, next one, it's a spiral. You can draw spirals like so. You have for this one as well some properties here: clockwise, counterclockwise, some common shapes. With this tool, common shapes, here you have on this drop down you have more shapes from you can choose, like this magnet, lining, a water drop, or whatever you like. Next, it's the impact tool. With this one you can make some cool effects. Next we have the graph paper, and here you can choose the number of rows and then the columns. And you can make like a paper fill grid, let's say. Now you see this is one object grouped, and here on the bottom tab you will see that we have a notification, a group of 80 objects. So if we hit Ctrl and U, or right click and ungroup, we will have this object ungrouped. Okay, and now we can I don't know, we can add the fill separately for them. Okay, next we have the text tool. With the text tool you can either click and type, or you can click and drag and have a paragraph here. Okay, and on these properties bar you can play with the text alignment. You can go with left, center, right, full, force, justify, what you need. You can also open the properties doc when where you will have some more options here. Background color, if you need. Okay, and some more paragraph options. You can choose the font from here or from here, and you have a filter option. For fonts you can choose the weight, width, style. Let's say a script font, and we can choose Comic Sans here. Okay, with the simple text, some useful things that you might need. It's what you can do if you select the shape tool, you will see these handles appear on the left and right. With this one from the right we can adjust this the space between letters. Okay, and with this one we can adjust the space between lines. And with text like this one on multiple lines, if you hit Ctrl K on the keyboard, you can break this into separate lines like this. And if you hit again on this line, it will break into words. And if you hit on a word, Ctrl K, it will break it on letters. Let's say I want to add this text to a path. Let's say I have this ellipse here, and I want to add it to the path of this ellipse. So what I will do, to copy or duplicate this text, you can hold the right click and drag it somewhere else. You can copy it here, you can either hit plus on the right numerical keyboard, or by going to the transform tab here, you can select on which side you want to duplicate the object, in this case the text, and hit copy is 1 and apply, and it will duplicate my text. Same thing with the objects. If I want to duplicate, you specify I want to duplicate it downwards, and the one copy and hit apply. Okay, now with the text on a path, you can either with the text selected, let me delete this one and make another copy. With the text selected, you can right click on it, hold, and drag it over the object. Another older version, you have to drag it on the path, on the outline. But here you can drop it, drag it over the object, and you release the right click, and you have this option, fit text to path, and to it will follow the path of this ellipse, and you can move it on the path by just dragging it. Now when we go with the text on the bottom side, you will see that it's mirrored, so we will have to flip it from this using these buttons here, and we have to mirror it horizontally and then vertically. And when you see this red line here appears, it means that we are in the center of the object. To put the text on a path, you can either drag it to the edge of the path and hit fit text to path, or you can go to text and hit fit text to path, and you can select the object or the path you want to place the text. Cool. Now, for example, if I want to ungroup this the text from the path, because they are now combined, joined together, you can either hit Control and K on the keyboard, and now I can work with them separately, or you can when you have both of them selected, like so, you go to Object and break text apart. Okay. Under the text we have the table. This is you can adjust the rows and the columns, and we drag this table. In this table we can actually add text if we want to. By double clicking on a cell, and we can use the text properties to change the color and other other settings. Next, there are the dimension tools. With this, you can add the measurements of an object. Let's say if you want if you have a, I don't know, a technical sheet, you have to add some measurements to objects. You can use this one. Next, we have the connector tool. What this does, it connects with a straight line two objects. So if you want to make like a infographic design, you can use this one to have this kind of elements. The anchor editing, it lets you to move this to move the connector line. Next, we will have the some effects for objects. We have the drop shadow. We can click, hold and drag, and on the properties panel here you have some options for the shadow opacity or feathering. Next is the contour. You can add contour to this object. You can do it either inside of the or the outside of the object or to the center. So if I choose inside, I will leave it black, and I can choose the size of the contour. Now they are also combined objects, so I will have to break this contour apart to have separate objects. And to add an outside contour to this one, I will choose this this option here, and I will you can also change the levels of the contour by increasing these contour steps, and you will see that it will the color will blend from the first object color to the object contour. Next is the blend tool. Here you can blend two objects, so you will have to click, hold and drag to the object you want to blend with, and it will make this kind of effect. And you can change, you can play with the settings of this the number of blend objects of steps. Okay, Next, the distort option. Here you can, if you click and drag onto the object, you can distort it like so. You have option, this is the first option, push and pull distortion, then zipper distortion and twister. The zipper, you can also click and drag. It will have this kind of of effect. And as the twister, it will twist the object. Next, the envelope tool. With this one, let me show you with this text. Let's open the envelope docker under effects envelope, and here you can envelope this text on one of these existing shapes. So I will add create envelope from, choose a vertical, and I will choose this shape here, this cloud, and you'll see the text take that form. Or if you, for example, have a shape, let's say we have this ellipse, and we want this text to envelope it after this shape. What you will do, it will go to create envelope from, and you will see this black arrow, and you will click on inside this object, and you will have this effect. Next is the extrude tool. This will add like a 3D effect to an object, so as you can see here, and you will have some options here. You can choose one of these presets and adjust the amount of the extrusion, and you have also a 3D perspective. You can add color to the extrusion, or make like a gradient fill to the extrusion. And you can also add lightning to the object. If we enable one of the lights, it will appear here, and you can move it on one of these points. Okay, I'm going to disable. So that is the extrusion. Next we have the block shadow. So you can add like a shape shadow effect to an object or a text, and you can expand the block shadow here from here if you want to on a text. Let's see, choose another color here, this. Okay, next we have the transparency tool. So you can add the transparency to an object. you can either add a uniform transparency for the whole object. You can adjust the amount from this handlebar, or you can add the fountain transparency. So this is the linear fountain transparency. Next we have the elliptical fountain transparency. With this one you can add the transparency in a radial transparency. So if you want to invert the transparency, now the transparency is starting from the middle to margins, and if you want to invert this, you click on this box, you make it black, and this one on the outside white, and the effect inverts, and the transparency starts from the middle like so. Next we can you have the conical transparency and the rectangular transparency. Okay, next is the color eyedropper tool. We will have no fill on this rectangle, and I will choose the color eyedropper tool, and for example I want this this shade. I hover and click on it, and you will see that this paint bucket appear, and I will click on the object and fill it with the color selected. Next is the attributes eyedropper. This will copy all the attributes that an object have, and you can copy them to another object. So let's say this one is this color, and the outline it's 8 points. If I go to the attributes eyedropper and click on this object and then paste them here, they will be copied to the object. Okay. Next is the interactive fill. So with this one, this is we can apply gradients to our objects. If you click and drag, you will make a gradient, and you can choose these colors by clicking on them on the boxes, and pick the color you want. You can also change the angle of the gradient here, you see, by dragging from this handle. And you can also do a linear gradient. It's elliptical gradient, conical, and rectangular. You can also add the pattern fills to the objects. So you can choose from one of the available patterns. Okay, this is a bitmap pattern fill. This is a two-color pattern fill. Next, texture fill. You can apply a texture. Next, PostScript fill. Let's apply an intricate PostScript texture fill. Next we have the smart fill, and for this I will draw a few rectangles here. You can fill on a part of the overlapped objects. So I want to fill this overlapped part here, and I just have to click on it, and it will I will have a fill, and I can now select that part and work with this. And same with any other part of these objects that are overlapped. Okay, next we will have the mesh fill, and for this, and let's say we have this rectangle here, and I will give it this color, and go into the mesh fill. We can add the number of the lines on which we can apply colors. Now I can add a color to this top side, and another color here. Next is the variable outline tool, and with this one you can apply you can drag the outline of this rectangle and make this kind of an effect. Now I will show you how you can place images onto your document. So you can either drag and drop from a folder like so, or you can use this option here to import, and you will see this black corner appear, and you can either click and place the image, or you can click and drag, and you will see a preview of the size of the image that will be placed. So for this Pikachu image, we're gonna use the trace bitmap option to vectorize it and make it fully editable. So from here, from the trace bitmap, you can either choose a quick trace that it's okay for simple images like this one, or you can choose one of these options from the outline trace, and I will go with this clip art option. And here you will have a preview of the result, so you can make adjustments using this detail or smoothing or corner smoothness options. You can remove the background automatically, like I have it selected here. You can play with these settings and see to get the best results. Let's click OK, and now the result, the vectorized image, will be placed on top of the actual image, so we will have to drag it aside, and this will be a group of objects like you can see here on this notification. So I will ungroup it, and now you can make adjustments to the object. So if for example you can change the fill if you want to. So what I didn't show is that if you click and hold on a color box, you will have more shades available from that color. So let's say I'm gonna choose this one, and now I can select other objects that I want to apply that fill, and I have that color here on the history color. Okay, for the for images, you have some options to make color adjustments, and if you go to the effects menu here under adjust, you will have more options. And let's say this image adjustment lab, you can make adjustments to brightness, saturation, and so on. Now if you want to place this image inside of a container, I will make a rectangle here, and if I want to place the image inside of this container, I can either right click, hold and drag over the rectangle, over the shape, and release, and it will have this power clip inside option. Or you can right click and use the power clip inside, and you will have this arrow, and click on the object you want to place the image, like so. And now with the image that's power clip inside, you have some options here. On other versions of Corel, you will have this menu under the shape. You have the image power clipped, and you can edit the contents. And if I hit edit, I will go inside of this container, and you will see the margins, and you can adjust your image as you want. And that's okay. You click finish. Another options, you can adjust your image position by using this select contents, and now you will have the image inside of the container selected, and you can move it and position it as you want. Next, you can choose to extract the contents if you want to. And you will have the option to fit the content proportionally on the center of the container, to fit it proportionally, to fill proportionally, and stretch to fill, but this will distort the image, so that's not what you want. I will undo that. Or you can use the shortcut to select the image inside of the container, holding the Alt button and click. You will now select the image inside. So these are the basic things I think you need to know for start working with Corel. And if you have questions, you can leave them on the comments. Thank you for watching, and if you find this video helpful, I would appreciate and like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.